Hey, we are the Syndicate, and our project's the Flux Diffusion emoji or image generator. I'm Kyle.
I'm Rayon.
I'm a lit.
Ryan. I'm Ole.
So we're gonna start by showing some parts of the project because the generation takes a little bit of time. So we have both login and logout features, or signing up as well. So we'll start by making a demo account. So you choose like a username and password, and we test to make sure they match. And then when you sign up, it gives you the opportunity to generate images. So this is the generation tab. We have a text to image generation model. So we'll choose a prompt and then we'll let it run. It takes about 3 minutes. So we'll go to our presentation in the meantime. So yeah, our project's a Flux Diffusion image generator. And the main project overview for us is we wanted to create a web application integrating text to image generation. And we wanted to add a lot of social networking features to create like a community. So does someone else want to like key features?
Yeah. So some of our key features is that we have a text to image generation powered by like the recent and very cool Flux Diffusion model. We also have the secure user authentication as well as information storage, images, etc. And we have some cool social features. We have a friend system, user profile, and a community gallery.
Yeah, so for our tech stack for the project, our front end, we use React, JavaScript for like programming the front end components, and we use Redux for state management, and we use Tailwind CSS for a lot of the styling. Our back end, we used Flask and Python to kind of host our backend routes, and we used PyTorch for the image generation model, and we used a supabase database in the cloud. That way, members of the community could see each other's stuff. So we have like a flow chart here. Our front end makes requests to the back end, which either will access the AI model or database. And then our database has two tables. One is for users and one is for images. So depending on what the query is, it will either retrieve user information or it'll retrieve the byte encodings for images that we render back on the front end. So next we have the comprehensive supported features. You guys want to talk about some of these a little bit?
Okay. Should I do it?
Yep.
Okay, so AI text to image generation. Alex is mostly on that part. He gave us like two very powerful models. And also, our website can display image uploaded or generated by all users in the public community gallery. And users can also save their generated pictures to their local computer or view them on the profile page. And also in the community gallery, we can filter out pictures by searching up either username or the title of images. And user sign up and login authentication is also implemented so that each user has to like have a different username from the users already signed up before and also a password. And we also implemented functions that handles server-side database like inquiry for username, users friend list, and also users generated image. And also we created, read, and update stuff from the backend database for the user profile. Implementation of adding and viewing friends via username is also made possible in the profile page. And we also have the ability to view images generated by each profile through unique URLs for each user.
And then we have some challenges and solutions. So each of us faced like a variety of challenges, and we'll go over the biggest ones we each face. So first was the ML implementation.
Yeah, so starting with the ML implementation, initially we had a computer offsite which had a lot of compute power and it was able to run one of our bigger models. And what we wanted to do is we wanted the users to be able to send requests and then through a queue, because the model was so large, it would take around like 8 to 10 minutes to generate an image, even if the image was like really high quality. So that caused some problems. And then in order for the user to connect to the server, there would need to be some ports so that the user could access the server, but UCLA Wi-Fi closed off all the ports. So we had to find pretty much a different solution to this problem. Oh, sorry.
You can continue.
And the way we fix that is we decided just to run the ML model locally. So I found an image generator that works well on the CPU. And the good thing about this is you can download it. It works fine. It's less complicated than having to go offsite. and there's faster generation times. So yeah.
Yeah, we credited the GitHub in the README if you want to see more. Next, Ron, you want to talk about the dynamic URL stuff?
Next, is the dynamic URL routing issue. So, when we navigate to our other people's profiles through the URL by appending the username to the URL, we might have a conflict for use because we already store the username of the person logging in, and we are using the website to view the profile of other user. So the username of the other user and the person that's already logged in could have a conflict. So that might appear as if we want to return from other people's profile to our other profile, we might have a name conflict. So what we do is we have a local storage to store the username of the person already logged in, store it locally. So once we use it once the user is searching other people's profile, no matter how far we go, we can always go back to our own profile.
Yeah, so I was mainly working on the community gallery, and a big issue that I had, especially in the beginning, was figuring out how to actually like store the images or like be able to access the images through the community gallery. I spoke with my team members about it in one of our earlier meetings, and we were thinking about doing like a separate like AWS like EC2 instance or something to store it. But this was expensive, and I found it difficult to figure out. I've never really used that before. So instead, we tried again to use like base64 encoding and decoding in the actual database. So the images are actually like encoded in the database, and then we can query it on the back end and decode it so we can display it to the front end. And this was a pretty difficult thing for me to figure out. But in the end, I think it's a neat solution because it reduces the complexity and keeps everything that we need to work on through one database. Also makes it easier for queries to happen for like users to look at their own images, etc. So yeah.
And then next, we faced a lot of complex merge conflicts. So I was in charge of a lot of the project setup, and we decided to create a Flask backend so that we could use Python because PyTorch would work really well with that. And because of that, pretty much all of our simpler routes were in the same file. So we'd have like a route where you can make an HTTP request to log in or to get images. And so the problem was when we would have multiple like team members working on the same file and making pull requests, it was really tricky because there were a lot of conflicts. So what we started to do was we would have people make branches. One branch might be login and one might be sign up. And then we would have one of the people make a pull request to the other branch that's not main instead. That way, if you developed login and you pull basically the changes from sign up, you can kind of see what changes are added and you understand the code base a lot more than if someone who didn't work on it were to review it. And that way we're also not committing directly to main just in case there are any issues when we do our like merge resolutions. So that was just pretty tricky in general, working with like a team of 5 on the same file. But I think we managed to get it down pretty quickly and minimize bugs. And then next is
Okay, another issue we faced early on in the project is that Python, like different versions of Python, some packages are not supported, especially for Python 3.13. And after testing out like with a lot of packages in the require .txt, we figured that Python 3.10 and 3.11 will work for all the packages that are mutually required for the project. So that's like what we changed to later on.
Yeah, so next, we have a small list of some improvements, what's next and what we might have done a little bit differently. So first is I thought it'd be a good improvement to make the UI responsive because right now, if you were to change your window size, a lot of our UI gets really buggy, but we didn't really take the time to kind of optimize that. Also, kind of improving our image generation and render speed would be nice. It's a little tricky when you're doing generation on a CPU and with like byte coded image information, but I think if we found a way to make that faster, it would be nicer for the project. We also wanted to complete our CRUD operation set with deletion of images and friends, because right now, once you generate an image, you can't delete it off your profile and you can't delete friends if you guys like have a fight or something. We wanted to add the option to hide images from profile too. So if I were to generate something everyone's always going to be able to see that. There's no way to hide it. So I think this would be a good feature to add. Lastly, just cleaning up the UI. We kind of distributed work a little bit. So I feel like each of our pages of our project aren't necessarily themed well. And I think working together to make it more uniform would be nice. And then also just cleaning up the code base would be a good improvement for our CSS. So we're going to move into the project demo now. So earlier we generated an image of Lego Star Wars. And as you can see, this is our landing page when something generates. It's pretty good. I'd say these are like Star Wars characters, right? So there's 3 options. You can discard the image, download it, or upload it to the community gallery. So to show what downloading is like, you download it and it comes up as generated image. And it's just a PNG of whatever was generated. And then you can upload it to the gallery and it says it's been successful. So discarding will go back to the home page. And we'll go to our profile now. And we can kind of see, here's our recent images, which is pretty good. It's the image we just generated. This is a brand new account. So that's how that works. Does someone else want to go over the friends part?
Yeah. So from here, we have a friends tab. So clicking here, we have a list of all the friends a person can have. So for example, we can
You can add mine.
add friends.
It's Kyle CJ21.
Now we have added Kyle. So from here, by clicking Kyle, we can go to Kyle's profile. Here we can see all the images he generated. And we can also find here, because we're on Kyle's profile. So this is the link to Kyle's profile. If we just copy paste the link here, we can also go to Kyle's profile through that way. And we can click go back to my profile to go back to our profile, and also view other friends if we have any other friends.
Yeah, and we have error handling as well. So if we do like a random friend that doesn't exist, it will successfully say users not found and etc.
Yep.
What do
Okay.
you want to cover
I
next?
do.
So now I'll discuss part of the community gallery. So we have a community gallery. So all the images that anyone chooses to do like upload image on the generator side, we'll go here into a nice community gallery. For example, we can go to the next, we can see what other pages other things we generated. We can go back, etc. It displays a lot of all the images that were hosted in our like database. Another thing we can do is we have a lot of search features. So we can either search by uploader. So for example, we could search for the account we created, like demo account. So there we go. It returns the demo account generated image. And we can also search by title. So maybe we wanted to look for all the Lego generated images. So if you go here and we search, it may take a little time. There we go. So all the Lego images, we have a ton, etc. And so, yeah, so that's the main community gallery. All images go directly, when we choose to upload, go here, and then we can go back to where we were before.
And then I think
I think that's it. We can go back to the homepage. Thanks for coming.
14.